So another wild project I did was I worked for about a month at Harvard Arts Center summer camp teaching teenagers. They were the most amazing creative teenagers I have ever met, but they kept me on my toes. We used junk, literally recycled junk, to make art, and they did some incredible things. That boat is that size. It's really big. And they were so collaborative. They worked together so beautifully. I was really impressed.
Good morning, Albuquerque. It's 9 o'clock and it's time for 1 million cups. Please check in. You can do that using the QR code on the screen or the QR code that's on the cards that are lying around the room. When you do that, you're letting the Kauffman Foundation know that the Albuquerque chapter of 1 million cups is thriving, which it is. And if you check in 3 times, you'll get a pen. If you check in 6 different times, you'll get the coveted 1 million cups notebook. Yeah, there it is. Like, don't grab it from her, it's hers, but you can earn one for yourself. All right, the mission of 1 million cups is to make it easier for entrepreneurs on their journey. It's a lonely and difficult journey. You don't know what you don't know, and you need help from the community. So we lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for new and aspiring entrepreneurs in New Mexico. And how do we do that? We have both a national and local mission. The national mission is through the Kauffman Foundation, which provides our software backend, provides training for the organizers, including training on how to coach the presenters. So there's a consistent program. Wherever you go to an instance of 1 million cups, you'll see pretty much the same format and largely hear the same questions. On the other hand, every community, every startup community is unique. There are things that are very different about New Mexico as an entrepreneurial community, and we like to take advantage of those things to assist people in their journey. All right. I am proud to say that we are the most outstanding chapter in New Mexico, and we achieve that by having a low denominator. The folks in Las Cruces might start up. We hope that they do so, and we'll be glad to help them out when they do. There's plenty of other chapters throughout the Southwest, and I've been to a couple of these. If your travels take you somewhere outside of Albuquerque and it's Wednesday morning at 9, check to see if there's a 1 million cups chapter near you. If you're not the traveling kind and you get up early, you could check in at 7 a.m. in New York and watch Million Cups there and then come here for a second dose. So if you can't get enough Million Cups, it's possible to get more. So here are our key pillars. These are presentations, not pitches. In a pitch, you want something. You either want that person as a customer or you want them as an investor. There's something you want from them. And so I'm not going to say you're dishonest, but you're selective in what you present to them. And in these presentations, because you're a struggling entrepreneur and you're dealing with other struggling entrepreneurs, the best thing to do is to be open about your challenges and vulnerabilities and ask for help. And you'll get that from this community. So we're looking for authentic connections, not networking. We're not having a contest to see how many business cards you can pass out in 5 minutes. We want you to hang around for a bit before and after the talk and see if you can't make a connection to someone who might either learn something from you or someone you could learn something from. We're run for the community, by the community, so all of the organizers are volunteers. We're not masochistic altruists. We all get something out of it. You can talk to any of us about our stories. You're laughing.
Could be both. Could be both.
It could be both. Yeah, we could both be masochistic altruists and be getting something. I agree. Point conceded. And we're run by the community and we're radically and intentionally inclusive. All kinds of entrepreneurs are welcome here, no matter what stage of development the company is in. All kinds of businesses are welcome here. We have mom and pop shops that are never going to scale, that have a brick and mortar operation. We have whiteboard companies that have got a little bit of funding and have a good idea. And we've got all the way up to tentpole companies that come in here every once in a while and show us how it's done. But they don't really need anything from us. So all of that is helpful and helps us to learn about how to be an entrepreneur. We're radically and intentionally inclusive. Everybody really is welcome. And we like to foster that by having a welcoming environment. Please be polite, please be helpful, please be friendly. If you disagree strongly with what someone has said publicly, it might be a good time to take advantage of the opportunity to keep your opinion to yourself. All right. And there's more. That's our mission, which I've summarized. And it's easy to apply to present. Just talk to one of the organizers and we will guide you through the application process. We'll assign you a coach to help make you look your best. And we'll handle aftercare after your presentation, connecting you with people whose email you didn't manage to get. Okay, here are our organizers. I'm Paul Sutter, founder and chief scientific officer of Equiseek. We have Lisa Atkins, who's not here today. She's at FatPipe. Eric Brins Whitmore, who keeps the gears lubricated there in the city of Santa Fe. Danielle, who's an end-of-life guide and a death doula. Keiko and Oscar, who are legacy family documentaries, and this could be you. It was to our great regret that Sonia got too busy with being successful to contribute very much more time to 1 Million Cups. And after many years of working hard on our behalf, has gone on to other things, but it'll still drop in every once in a while. If you think you have what it takes to be a Million Cups organizer, such as your personality profile is masochistic altruist, you're welcome here, and we'd love to talk to you. All right, it's a pleasure to thank our sponsors. FatPipe has been our sponsor for 10 years now, providing a free meeting space for 10 years. And if we had to pay for all that, we would not be in existence. It's also a pleasure to thank Deanna with Dry Heat Photography, who's always making us look good on the web. Miriam with More Than Organized, who organizes your thoughts, your stuff, and provides creamer. Foundation for Sustainable Living, our coffee sponsor. Beyond Energy, which I see has energy drinks out there. So if anybody needs an extra hit of dopamine, they provide that. Noventum Custom Software Development, software that doesn't suck, and donuts. And Minuteman Press for all your ink on paper needs, such as the cards that are sitting on the table. So thanks again to all our sponsors. And we need a battery sponsor, apparently. Thanks for joining us. Right. And I will now introduce whoever coached our speaker. Who is that? She's not here. All right. So it's a pleasure to have Rosemarie here back to give us an update. You spoke some time ago, less than a year ago, I think. And let us know what's going on.
Good morning. My name is Rosemarie Prins, and I'm a visual artist. And I presented here, actually, it was a little over a year ago. I had recently arrived in Albuquerque. And at that stage, I was desperately looking for a studio. So the image you see on the screen there was photographed when I last presented here, and it was shot by Jason Carlin, who has moved on to other things now. So that's my studio. It doesn't look very impressive, but it's what I need. It's conveniently located in Nob Hill. It's 122 Brinois Southeast. My studio is right across Silver from Michael Thomas Coffee Roaster, so you can come and see art. I'm open usually on the first Sunday of the month throughout the summer. So you can come see art and also drink a great cup of coffee, almost as good as you can get here. And this is the inside of my studio. So it's really small. It's crowded with art. It's just big enough for me to make art. And this is another two views of the inside of my studio. There you see a book that I published with my son entitled A Leaf in the Wind, Poems by Yarrow Meyer, Artwork by Rosemarie Prins. And that'll be featured in a future slide. And those images, those pieces that are so big hanging on the wall, or not on the wall, but actually on racks, because they're just too big to fit in my studio. Those are currently on view at Chatter Albuquerque. So Chatter's on 3rd Street, and it's a performance space as well as an art gallery. So you can go on Sunday mornings, have great coffee and goodies, and listen to wonderful performances, musical performances, as well as poetry, and see my art. So those events, the doors open around 10 a.m. and I have some cards right there, but I'll talk about a little bit more about that also later. I've been pretty busy since I arrived in Albuquerque. The first workshop I taught here was at Harvard Arts Center. It was a cold wax and mixed media workshop. And I think it was quite successful. I'll be teaching another one coming up last weekend in April the 27th and 28th. So please, if you're interested in making art, learning something new about cold wax and mixed media, come join me or let your friends know. Sign up at Harvard Arts Center. And this was an exhibition I had, a solo exhibition I had, my artist books at Little Bird de Papel here in Albuquerque on Mountain. And I think you recognize one of the people in one of those slides. So that was up for a month. It was quite successful. And yes, I mentioned A Leaf in the Wind, poems by Yarrow Meyer. That's my late son, and me, images by me. And this is currently doing the rounds in Santa Fe. It's part of a joint collaboration between Libros, New Mexico Book Arts Guild, and BAG, which is the Santa Fe Book Arts Group. And we had a show here, a combined show in Tortuga Gallery, and then the work moved up to Santa Fe. And so right now it's been traveling the libraries, all the libraries in Santa Fe, and now it's at the Santa Fe Community College, and that will be up through March the 22nd. So do go see it. It's a great show. And my book, by the way, is available on, our book is available on my website. So another wild project I did was I worked for about a month at Harvard Arts Center summer camp teaching teenagers. They were the most amazing creative teenagers I have ever met, but they kept me on my toes. We used junk, literally recycled junk, to make art, and they did some incredible things. That boat is that size. It's really big. And they were so collaborative. They worked together so beautifully. I was really impressed. And then Danielle Slupeski, this wonderful death doula, and I taught a workshop at the Hispano Chamber of Commerce. And that was during the summer. And thanks to Danielle, I think it was a really successful, cathartic workshop. It certainly was cathartic for me. She obviously dealt with the grief part, although I've had my share of grief having lost my son 7 years earlier. She knew how to address the grief part, and I did the art part. And just this past week, I received in the mail Soul Palm. That's Florida Literature and Art. It's a publication, an annual publication that is published by South Florida University, University of South Florida to be exact. And it's got two of my large paintings in it. Those are really huge paintings. Can't see that in there, which are now in a private collection. So that was a great perk, given that I left Florida a year and a half ago, to be included in their annual publication. And this is the exhibition I mentioned at Chatter. It's really great to have my really large paintings in one place where the walls are big enough to be able to see them. It's kind of an exciting moment for me. And the show will be up through April the 28th. So you'll have plenty of time to see it. And Chatter is also open on the first Friday of the month. So Sunday mornings and Fridays, and you can see the art before the concert and afterwards. And that's another image from the Chatter exhibition. I returned just over a month ago from Mexico. I was in Guadalajara for 3 months at an artist retreat, working on a project I called They Had No Time to Say Goodbye. It's about missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. I'm not going to tell you a whole lot about it because I'm going to show you a video. The video is a pilot project. That's why I'm here. My goal is to expand this project, to expand awareness about this crisis. So, yeah, I just think about it and I feel moved because it's just such an important and ignored part of North America's current environment. So I made an artist book. It's an altered book for those of you who know about books. And it has the same title as the installation. And the installation is a multimedia installation, also called They Had No Time to Say Goodbye. So let's watch the video. And there's one more slide from the book, Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women.
Hold on 1 second.
Shortly after returning to New Mexico in September of 2022, I was confronted by a billboard
You see it now?
with a blown-up face of a young Native American woman with one word, homicide. As a mother who had lost her only child 6 years earlier, and as an apartheid-era South African sensitized to gender-based oppression, and as a feminist, this image struck me deeply. I was compelled to action. Proportionately, there are more missing and murdered Indigenous women than any other group. Media and governments, in their silence, are complicit. My project evolved into a series of artist books as part of a multimedia installation incorporating antique China doll limbs and scraps of red women and girls' clothing, a metaphor for missing, murdered, and trafficked daughters. I, as well as artists from around the world, are scratching hundreds of faces representing missing daughters and their mothers on old X-rays. The X-rays are a reminder of Native females' transience and fragility in the face of violence. This is increasing due to man camps established on Native lands as a result of the North American oil boom. The X-rays, enhanced with red, the color signifying the missing and murdered Indigenous women's movement, are stitched together to create scrolls. 4 scrolls are now complete. They are suspended from the ceiling above a heap of desert sand in which the antique doll limbs and scraps of red females' clothing are partially buried. Accompanying the installation is an artist's book of the same title that addresses the issue of missing and murdered Indigenous women from the grieving mother's perspective. I am consulting with members of the Indigenous community to ensure that this project has maximum impact and respects Native American laws. So in February, no, not February, in fall, I am going to Portugal to an artist retreat to continue working on this project. And there my goal is to really engage other artists. I've already had an artist from Korea, a couple from Mexico, one from England work on this project, but I'd really like to engage other artists and increase this project so that there are not just 4 of those long scrolls, which fold up into artist books, by the way, but at least 12. There are 50 faces on there now, and I'd like many, many more. However, I've had a hard time getting hold of X-rays. The medical profession doesn't use X-rays anymore. They're not that kind of X-ray, they've gone digital. So a lot of people have X-rays. I know I had a couple sitting around collecting dust. And if you're one of those people, please send those x-rays my way. I really appreciate it. And I think that's everything I have to say. So thank you. Any questions?
Fabulous. Let me do this. Let me shake your hand. That was beautiful. Two things. I'm a professional organizer. I clean out people's houses all the time. I run across a pack or two of x-rays every once in a while, and now I know where to send them. And I have a couple resources for you to get more word out about the project. There is a group, and for the life of me, I cannot remember off the top of my head what it is called, but they are doing the justice part of the looking for missing and Indigenous women and girls. And there might be a way to connect with them. They've been making the rounds on podcasts and things. So there may be a way to partner with some of those groups and efforts to get the word out.
Great, thank you.
I'll get back to you about it.
Wonderful, thank you, because there is a lawyer here in town. Her name is Darlene Gomez, and she is doing pro bono work on this issue. So I'm actually leaving for St. Petersburg, Florida in a couple of weeks to teach some workshops there. And when I return, I plan to get in touch with her. So I'll be back on the 17th of April.
So first of all, I'm Paul Sauter with Equiseek. I'd like to thank you for the grief workshop in which I was a participant, because you know, the power of art, both looking at other people's artwork and creating your own, has a power that's complementary to that of words. There's only so far you can get with talking, and you've done a great deal to advance that. And especially with this missing and murdered Indigenous women project, get in touch with me afterwards. I'd like to connect you with some political activists who are active in this issue. And I think, you know, they've done as much as they can with words, and I think they have to promote that exhibition. So get in touch with me. We'll do that.
Thank you. I just want to add here that on Sunday I was listening to NPR, an hour-long interview with Kumi Naidoo. He's a South African activist who's been very involved in both the Black liberation movement in South Africa and also the environment and everything else that moves him. And he's an incredible inspiration. So he happens also to be South African, which is where I was born.
Steve Cuomo, Santa Fe Fashion Week. Great presentation. So I work with a lot of Native American fashion designers, and I was wondering if there's a way to incorporate any of that into your project.
Well, it's funny you should ask that. I used to be a fashion designer. I owned a fashion boutique called Roses for quite a long time when I was very young. Believe it or not. So, you know, I hadn't thought along those lines, but I do remember seeing when I was in Mexico, a whole spread, I think it was in a magazine, of Native fashion designers who are working not only to promote their fashions, but also to promote awareness, giving their community more validity than they've had up to now. So that's an interesting thought.
Yeah, I'll connect. We'll talk afterwards. Okay.
Good, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. Norm with drnormsconnections.com. I'm in the dementia defense business. You talked about you can't get x-rays because most doctors don't use x-ray machines the way they used to. But there may be, I'm a chiropractor, a retired chiropractor. There are some chiropractors out there that still use the film and the developing solution, all that kind of stuff. So you might want to contact the executive director of the New Mexico Chiropractic Association, and she can put out a message. Anybody have x-ray machines that you're interested in? See if that could get you some leads. How's that sound?
Well, I don't need the machines. I just need the x-rays, right?
Okay, so you just need the actual films.
I just need the actual film because we are taking this film. We're taking the film and we're scratching faces onto it.
Oh,
So the x-ray machines, I know when I took my x-rays to a doctor here in Albuquerque, he laughed at me. He said, we don't have a machine to view these. So that started the project. And so it's x-rays I want where we scratch the indigenous women's faces onto those.
Okay, well, I'm sure that I know there's a bunch of chiropractors that still have the film stacked up in their file somewhere, so you can put the word out, see if anybody wants to give up those films.
Thank you. Put me in touch with them.
Bet.
Thank you.
We have one online, Sue.
Hi, good morning. Is that your number one ask, the x-rays, or how might we best help you get the word out?
I'm reading it because I'm not quite hearing it.
What is your number one ask? What do you need the community to do for you?
Well, actually, there are two asks, and I didn't get to the second one. Did you hear that? Yeah. So the first ask is the priority right now, and that is getting more x-rays. And the other thing that I want to do is when I do this final project with all the x-rays hanging in to show the enormity of this crisis. 4 little scrolls don't do it. You need many. So once I've got that part taken care of, the other thing I want to do before I create another video of the installation is get rid of my soundtrack on the video. That was just an introductory soundtrack, and have the voices of actual mothers who have lost their children, mothers of indigenous daughters who have lost their children, and have them talk about their own personal experiences. That was something I planned to do in Mexico, and people who worked for the State Department advised me against it. They said it would be dangerous because those women belong to the drug cartels, which is really scary to think of. So, but this is something that I still am committed to doing. So that's something else I need help with, is finding those mothers of missing and murdered indigenous women. And that's one of the reasons I'm going to approach Darlene Gomez, the local lawyer who's doing pro bono work here. Thanks for that. Good question. Anybody else?
William shared a story. William, did you want to unmute? Did you want us to share that with Rosemarie, or did you want us to share your link now?
Sure, yeah, on standby. Let me see if I can do this. My great grandmother, we're in a very small part of the indigenous community. I'm only like 164th registered Creek Indian. My great grandmother's my own grandfather, Audie Lee Gregory, invented this thing called a gyro motor. He was an inventor, and he inspired me and told me many stories about his life growing up. And it was a pretty sad story, to tell you the truth. And I didn't find out about it till later. But so anyway, he's inspired me to be an inventor as well. I have recordings of him. My dad was born on an Indian reservation in Oklahoma, the Oglala Indian Reservation, and all his brothers. But I just thought it's a fascinating story. She's buried on a golf course in South Dakota, my great grandmother, and it's quite an interesting story. So I just thought I'd share that with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. So as this project progresses, we find more people like that, people who have connections to the Native community through birth, blood, etc. And those are the people I'm reaching out to so that I can reach the women who have sadly and unfortunately lost their daughters. And somebody pointed out to me that, yes, it's not only girls and women who this is happening to, it's also happening to men and boys. And I've heard some horrible stories about that too. But my focus as a mother who's lost her only child and as a feminist, I have to narrow down my focus. So this is my focus. Any other questions?
With that, we have two final questions. It is my privilege to ask you the New Mexico official state question, red or green?
Last year it was Christmas. This year it's Christmas.
It's Christmas all year, just like those Christmas shops in Santa Fe. And finally, you've been pretty clear about this, but what can this community do for you?
I think I've stated that quite clearly. I would like to generalize, you know about the x-rays, you know about reaching out to mothers of missing and murdered Indigenous women. But what I'd like to broaden this to include is support the arts. Come to my show at Chatter, support the music and the poetry, the poets there, it's live. Come to my studio. Thank you. You have already brought your wife. Come to my studio the first Sunday of the month, not this coming month. I'll be in Florida, but after that. And support the arts in whatever way you can. It's the only way they're going to survive. And I do have my business cards on the table and flyers to the show. So thank you.
And thanks again, Rosemary. I see a lot of new faces here. So one of the things we do at 1 Million Cups is if you're new to the community, if it's your first time at 1 Million Cups, form a line up here and grab the microphone, point it right at your mouth the way I'm doing, and introduce yourself. Give your name, tell you what business or organization you're affiliated with, and give people a reason to talk to you in the remaining time or after we get cleared out of here at 10:30. Come on up. Don't be shy. That doesn't work for entrepreneurs.
Hi, everybody. My name is Caleb Shoup. First time, I was warned that I would have to introduce myself. So I actually did have a question, but I didn't want to come up here twice. Just once enough, I think. I have some ideas that I'm kind of still formulating. I am very driven by human rights activism and bringing injustices to light and just pushing for social change. My medium is video. So I work in TV and film production, and I want to use that to kind of like spread the word about things like projects like yours, Miss Prins. And yeah. So that's kind of, I'm thinking about developing a nonprofit that kind of maybe supports other nonprofits and using video different ways, or if it has to be a company and make a little bit of profit. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it, how that would actually work. But that said, if you do need any video assistance, I know you said that was a pilot, and you can definitely feel free to talk to me after. I'd love to possibly collaborate. So.
That's great.
Yeah, nice to meet you, everybody.
That these cards from Howard Arts Center are from last year. In fact, I do have work in an exhibition currently at the Howard Arts Center. There are 5 exhibitions of invited artists there. So go to Howard Arts Center, see the art. It's up now, and they're having a big celebration on April the 13th, when they'll have open studios and the exhibitions will be open and the food and drink and performances. So it should be a lot of fun. It's their annual big event.
And actually, real quick, Todd, I know you have to go. Did you want to turn your camera on and say hello?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me here. This was awesome. My name's Todd Mitchell, and I'm the owner of Cybersecurity for Biz. And basically what I do is cybersecurity compliance for solopreneurs and micro businesses. So I focus on that 0 to 5 employee range. And I help people with HIPAA compliance, Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act compliance, things like that, if they're needing to protect their customers' information. And I did have one comment for Rose. Because of the HIPAA laws, I think you're going to have a hard time getting doctors' offices and chiropractors and things to donate x-rays, because they're going to have to get a form signed by every one of their patients. So you might be better off hitting up people that have them laying around in their house as opposed to medical practice offices.
Well, can I answer that? I have been getting them from I've even been buying them on eBay. And what they do is they cut out the personal information off the
Okay.
X-rays. So I have no access to anybody's personal information. Thank you. Yes.
Yep.
I used to work in the hospital. I'm aware of make art with patients in the hospital, so I'm aware of the whole of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Nice to have you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew Moser. I was coming to 1 Million Cups about 6-7 years ago pretty frequently. At the time, I was focusing on trying to do business development and marketing, consulting, trying to network and things like that. But then I decided to go to acupuncture school. And yeah, so for the past 6-7 years, so was what I've been working on. And now I'm recent diplomat and starting up my practice. So I'm here to introduce myself and see if anyone's interested in acupuncture. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. My name is Zach Lazaro. I'm fairly new to Albuquerque. I moved here in September with my partner, Marissa. I am not an entrepreneur, but she is. She owns the Well Studio. It's a yoga studio in Philadelphia, and she's transitioning that business here now. I see her work hard on it every day. I know I mentioned I'm not an entrepreneur, but I do, I work in advertising for Comcast, and I know there are certain government organizations that are able to get public service announcements on the air for free. So if that's something that I can ever help you with, I would be happy to.
Hi, everyone. Didn't quite realize I was going to speak today. I'm Alminda Britton. I'm also originally from South Africa, so it was wonderful to hear that accent, Rosemary, when you started speaking. So I moved to New Mexico about 5 years ago. Before that, I had a career in sales. So for about 20 years, I was part of technical sales teams for IBM and in Silicon Valley. And a few weeks ago, I met Barbara Dawson. I'm currently a graduate student at UNM. I should add that. I'm doing my master's in data analytics. And I met Barbara Dawson, and she told me about 1 Million Cups and suggested I start attending. And oh, there you are. I was looking for you. And yeah, just to share some experience. And you know, I'm getting more and more involved at the sales school at UNM. So I guess my sweet spots are things like on the technical side, right? Building presentations, doing demos, actually building a pitch, those kind of things. Yeah, so wonderful to meet you all.
No one warned me that I'd be talking today either, but thanks. But I'm Tara. I'm newly exploring if I want to be an entrepreneur. I think I have like 1,200 Google Drive folders with different businesses that I've thought of over my life, but I had a 10-year career at UNM, and now I'm trying to figure out how I might support New Mexico more broadly. And I'd say some of the work that I've been doing so far is working with a couple of business consultants on evaluation, doing theory of change work with nonprofits. But my personal passion is like people and people operations. So sort of like contract HR, but thinking about how to align values of an organization with the practices with our staff. I've put out a couple of proposals, but I'm super new. So if you want to chat and gas me up, that'd feel really great today. Thank you.
And to the last two of you, I'd like to add that 1 Million Cups is a perfectly friendly environment for recovering academics. I'll speak for personal. You have events?
Yes, sorry.
There's a lot of events, more than you could possibly go to, but we're going to give you the most worthwhile ones. How many people were here last Wednesday evening? Yes? Boy, did we hear some stories, huh? And I would encourage you to approach some of these folks and talk to them about their stories. Deanna has some stories to tell you about creamers in the shape of cows, and that's all I'll say. And you would not guess what Miriam has in her past, and I'm not going to spoil the surprise. I stood right in front of the photo of her objects, and I had no idea it was her. Who else is here that had stuff in there? Of course, I had stuff in there. I'm always talking. You have something to talk about? Is this an event? All right, come on up and tell us what to do.
All right, thank you so much, Paul. So I'm Barbara Dawson with Purple Mulch. And today from 11:30 to 1 o'clock, we'll be doing the last in a series of 4 free workshops that are going on here at Fat Pipe. And how many of you, think about your business? Do you have people that have kind of fallen through the cracks, people that you should follow up with, didn't follow up with, weren't sure how to follow up with them? That's what we'll be looking at today, is really what's some good processes to make that happen, to make your life easier. Somewhere along the way, I learned if I didn't do this, my business would eat me alive. And thank goodness it didn't eat me alive. I've learned the processes. So I welcome anybody, whether you've been to any of our previous workshops or not, come on this afternoon, 11:30. It'll be right here. Again, it's free. We'll have light for refreshments, water, soft drinks, and so on. Thanks.
Thank you.
Want to read these? Okay, so we have, besides, hang it or, go get coffee and come back here at 11:30 for that. Accounting practices for small businesses, March 25th at 11 a.m. at Fat Pipe East Mountains and via Zoom, and details will be coming soon.
You can find actually on our website, fatpipeabq.com. You can register there. I believe it's up already. We will also have a Zoom running in our conference room here since it's in person in East Mountains. If you'd like to come in person and watch Zoom with me in the conference room, you're welcome to. The workshop is fantastic. Any business owners who need to know where do we go to register with all the different entities you have to register with the new FinCEN taxes. This workshop will cover it all. So I highly recommend you attend. And Paul will introduce the last one.
Okay, this is the New Mexico Tech Council. There are Women in Tech Awards going on today. In contrast to biology, which had gender equity decades ago, technology is still not really that friendly for women who want to get started. So we'd like to celebrate women who have punched their way through the barriers. And that's going on. Please follow up on what's happened there. And if you're a woman who's working in tech, hook up with those folks, because lots of people here are nodding their heads and they're like, yeah, it's not that friendly, but if you have some friends, you can get by. All right, and the 1 Million Cups presentations will start replaying on TV by Catharsis Media. So if you weren't paying attention during some of this, you can see some of the ones that you zoned out during, or if you missed a week, we'll be up there. So if you can't get enough Million Cups, tell your friends we're on this public access channel through Catharsis Media. And let them know what's going on. We have new people here every week. Tell your friends how great Million Cups is. And if they don't want to come, they can watch on TV to see what's going on. That's it for events. Anybody else have an event they'd like to announce? Yes, come on up.
Hello, Miriam Ortiz Pino, More Than Organized. Last week I talked about my Clear Your Desk this Acceleration Day. I actually had to move it back a week because of other technical difficulties, but it'll be on the 29th. It's about 4 hours where I walk people through and we work along together via Zoom to clear off your desk and your money clutter. So that'll be up and available for registration the next day or so.
And Kenneth Knoll, what have you just pasted there in the chat for us? Is there something you'd like to talk about? Can you pin him and put him up?
Yeah.
Looks like an event. Ken, can you unmute?
Try playing it. See what we got here.
All right.
Recipe now uses AI to help you write, not just revise. Type a prompt and generate a persuasive, mistake-free draft and
About a 5-minute long video.
Okay, that's a music video. So Ryan Montano, Enchanted Land. So you can watch that at your leisure when we're not having downloading problems. So that's it for new introductions and events. If you were slow on that, here's your last chance to get up here. No? Oh, somebody's got something in here? Go ahead. Ken, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's a busy morning, but just the Ryan Montano song that was released, Enchanted Lands. I co-wrote it, I wrote it and co-produced it. It's on Sirius Radio, watercolors, playing regularly there. We are now in over 150 land radio stations. But Enchanted Lands promotes what it is, Enchanted Lands, New Mexico. So if you get a chance, take a look at it. We are over a million streams and it's getting legs. So promoting New Mexico.
Thank you, Ken. All right, so yes, one more.
I forgot to mention that I'm also a member of the Albuquerque chapter of Showing Up for Racial Justice, which is mostly white settlers, multi-generational, multi-class, organizing alongside Indigenous groups here in New Mexico. And the event I want to pitch is Reading the Red Deal, which I think is related to the presentation today. But this is a book written by the Red Nation, offering like action essentially. And so Serge is going to put together a book club. I'm not sure how often we'll meet. I meet with the group that's putting together the book club today, but I'd be happy to send out the link when we start looking for folks to join the book club. And mostly we'll be reading this book together and then identifying actions that we all want to take in community. So I think something like your art project would result from folks doing this, but also I think it's a place to come work alongside the Red Nation. We also work with Pueblo Action Alliance, and we move $120,000 annually from white settlers to these two Indigenous organizations. So if you're interested in like working alongside Indigenous groups, Surge is a great place to show up. You meet once a month. Start with a potluck. So it's, if you want to get involved, follow up with me after this.
Great, thank you. All right. As you see, the mic's up here for grabs, and Lisa isn't really here to supervise us, so we're operating under without adult supervision. So nobody else. Okay, so it's my turn to close this out. You know, one of the things that last Wednesday's evening's event was great for is I did go through leadership training quite a bit time ago, and I don't know how many of you think of yourselves as leaders. Please raise your hand if you do. Okay, you know, you can lead from below as well. So even if you nominally have a boss or someone who's the head of your organization, leadership is an important part of that as well. So part of that is enlarging your public persona. There are things about you that are obvious in public, like when you get up and give a 1-minute pitch on who you are and what you do. But there are also things that people don't know about you that actually help them deepen the connection with you personally. Danielle had a fantastic entry last Wednesday. I would never have guessed that was hers. I had no idea what it was, but it comes with a great story. So go around, yeah, and it was misrepresented by the original person introducing it as well. So yeah, go around and talk to people about odd things. And you know, there's some things at business events that people want to talk about that they know about me, and I'm like, I don't know what relevance that has to anything. I was used to hammering people with my elevator pitch, but that's not the best way to make an authentic connection. So why don't you, at the end of this presentation, get up, go to someone you don't know, and tell them something weird about yourself that's not part of your public persona. See how an audience of one responds. And if they respond well, you can work it into your public presentation. If they run away in horror, don't do that again, okay? You have something to say, come on up.
No, just what if everything about you is weird?
Yeah, if everything about you is weird, then something that's not obvious to the general public should be your thing, like your creamer collection, or your concert history in San Francisco, or, you know, the fake awards that other people misrepresent their history with. You know, all of those things are interesting things. And we have 6 parrots in my house, so that's interesting too. So mingle a little bit, and Lisa's not here to sound the air horn and clear us out at 10:30, but I will do my best. And there's a good coffee shop down the road at VM. You can continue your conversations. I encourage you to make real deep connections, including weird personal things about yourself with the other people in the room. There's a lot of help here for anybody in the entrepreneurial journey or people who are considering jumping off the cliff. So see you all next week and lift up entrepreneurship in New Mexico.